Good morning. This is Kathleen Kaseman. I'm going to try again today to share with you some of my experiences growing up in rural North Dakota in the 40s and 50s. I went to country school and we had to walk. There were no school buses in the days that I was growing up. I can't believe, I was thinking about it this morning. My older sister was a year older than myself, and she had to walk to school alone as a 6-year-old. Can you imagine walking a mile to school? I mean, we did it, but I had Rosemary with me, so we walked together a mile to school, a mile home. But she was alone when she started. In the winter and everything, we walked. Anyway, our mother had put the fear of God into us, that if we ever got in a car with anybody, if anybody stopped and wanted to give us a ride, we were to tell them no and just keep walking. So we did, and we could have had many rides. I mean, they were neighbors. They were neighbors of ours that stopped to ask if we wanted to ride, but we obeyed our mom, and we walked. I don't know if any of you have read the books on Little House on the Prairie, but that pretty well describes our life. We had probably 10, 13 children in the whole 8 grades of school. We had a stove that we had to keep the schoolroom warm, so we had to keep the fire burning. And it was quite an education. One teacher, taught all grades. So if you were a first grader, you heard the second, third, fourth, you heard all the grades. She would call them up to the front, and they'd sit up by her desk, and whatever they were learning, we were hearing. So it was pretty cool, I think. We had a very good teacher. Anyway, I skipped the 2nd grade, so I only went to country school for 7 years. We went outside for recess and noon hour and played. We just had a marvelous time. I mean, there was a little pond down close by the school. I don't know if we were supposed to play on it or not, but in the wintertime it had ice, of course, because it froze. So we'd take a run for it and slide across the pond. And those of you that haven't experienced the cold North Dakota or northern United States, the ice would freeze sometimes, and we'd call it rubber ice. And when we'd take a run for it and run across the pond, the ice would be just like rubber. It was so much fun. We had our sleds there, and we'd slide down the hill, and it was quite an education growing up in the farm and in the country school. Let's see, what else can I tell you about that? We all drank out of the same dipper, we'd dip the dipper into the water and drank out of the dipper, and we all drank out of it. And then we got smart later on when I was up in the grades, 5th, 6th grade. And we realized that we could put our lunches on the top of the wood-burning stove and have hot lunches. So we did that. Anyway, we not only went to a country school, but we lived on a lake. You know, our farm was close to a lake, so we did a lot of ice skating and sleigh riding. We had a little hill. Our mom could see us from the kitchen window, and we'd slide down the hill on our sleds. And I'm so glad and so blessed that I was raised out in the country on a farm. I bet I didn't even say who I was when I started. I'm Kathleen Kaseman. I am the wife of Julius James Kaseman. He was born in North Dakota too, only the southeast part of North Dakota. And I never knew him growing up. I met him when I was 21. What was I going to say? I thought of something. You got to remember I'm 78 years old, so my thoughts sometimes are, no, I have the mind of Christ. I want to thank you for listening. If you got anything you'd like to hear about growing up in the farm, I know some of you were raised in the big city and have no idea probably what I'm talking about. But my dad made a plow for his tractor and put it on front of his tractor, and he would plow the road open down to the school and out of our farm to the highway. And so we always had our road open. Thanks to my dad, he was a wonderful father. I guess I told you that before, how you read his Bible. He was a very quiet man. I remember him getting up at church. He was the treasurer, and he had to stand up at church and give a report, and he was just shaking. I guess I took after him because I remember having to give a speech, a 5-minute speech in high school. And I stood up in front of that class.